Welcome back, Planeswalkers, to another episode of the Hive Mind. My name's Jon. This is the show where I traverse the multiverse in search of other prominent members of the Magic the Gathering community. You guys know the story by now. We're at like episode 50. This is a little new iteration of the show. We'll call it season 3. I wanted all, you kids like the bells and the whistles, so we're going to make it a little prettier for you. Sadly, it's not live. I did like the live format, but this is, I think, a little bit keeping up with the Joneses, so to speak. So I quite like this new setup, and if you guys like it, let me know. Feedback is always great. So before I introduce who is planeswalking in today, I do want to tell everyone a little bit about cardsphere.com. If you guys have all the sweet new Guilds of Ravnica cards laying around, or you want those, your paper magic, cardsphere.com is where to go to buy, sell, and trade all that awesome stuff. You can also go and get some cool swag. I think Cardsphere has the coolest swag on the block, and not just because they pay me to say so. Or is it? Without further ado, planeswalking in from near my old stomping ground, all the Ravnica jokes, right? Olivia Gober-Hicks, planeswalking in from Reno, Nevada. Thank you so much for joining me, Olivia.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
All right. Well, my friend, I only know you through pictures and actually now video and whatnot, but I do see that you are a fan of the adult beverages. As the viewers that know me, I am quite a fan of adult beverages. Who is your special guest today, Olivia?
Today, my special guest is Whitecloud Seltzer. Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Yeah, partner in crime and I have definitely thrown these back at like 8 in the morning in Las Vegas getting ready for the GP. So, I figured it was a good homage.
That's perfect. We discussed this a little bit off air. I kind of crapped on hard seltzer and stuff. I consider myself a wine expert and beer connoisseur and blah, blah, blah. But I tasted the hard seltzer, especially like the White Claw and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I get it. This is pretty good.
Yeah, they're pretty tasty.
Yeah.
If you're someone like me and I'm at the gym all the time, you got to watch those calories, got to watch those carbs. So sparkling water and booze helps out.
Absolutely. And I will drink all the carbs for the both of us. My special guest today is the Pike Place Hive 5. This has honey in it. It's not, it's not very good, but it's just like it goes with the aesthetic of the show now. So, you got to endorsement. That's right. You got to keep on theme. I know you used to live in the Pacific Northwest. Did you ever go to Pike Place and do the whole gum wall thing?
It's been a minute, but yeah. Well, maybe I'll go back one day. Didn't they clean it recently?
They did, but it's just as gummy.
And it's just as yeah, they just got it back like in a couple of weeks. It was just as bad.
Yeah, it's yeah. So I'm not super excited about this, but cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
Oh man. Yeah, it's not as bad as I remember, actually. It just tastes like no, there it is. It's got a weird medicinal thing about it, and it's just unpleasant, but I do it for you people. Olivia, you just got back from a GP, like literally just got back at the recording of the show.
Yeah. I got back, 9 o'clock on Monday, which was my birthday, so everybody's trying to say happy birthday. What are you doing? Are you doing something fun today? It's like, I'm on a plane all day. Not really, but it was good.
Yeah, happy birthday. How was the international GP scene?
It was really fun. It's unfortunate because I got signed up for the main event through Channel Fireball because they're, bringing all us cosplayers out. Well, I say bringing all of us out because they're, helping us be there. And the entire thing was played in Spanish. I do not speak Spanish, but I played some Commander while I was there. Everybody was a treasure and a total delight. The cosplay crew in Mexico is like, bar none. They're just the sweetest people and doing really, really cool stuff. And yeah, everybody there was super sweet. Had some people come up and, want me to like sign cards for them and got all misty. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was a really good experience.
That is so awesome. And I love the pictures. It's always good to see. You take a very good photo catalog of every GP that you go to. And a new one that you debuted is someone that's near and dear to both of our hearts.
Yay!
Yeah, that card rocks.
She's great. I wish I could have showcased how good she was on game nights, but that's just what happens sometimes. You don't draw into what you need. And you don't tutor for it either because you're mana screwed.
Yeah. That's the thing with, you know, Dimir decks. That's the way of the gun, so to speak, right? It's like,
yeah, exactly.
you're not green, you're not white, you don't have land tax. Sometimes you just don't pull those islands.
Right. And the surveil thing was all fine. And my opening hand was great. So I stuck with it. And then all of a sudden, that was all I had.
Well, kind of jumping around it, and, you know, kind of what we do here is get your Magic origin story. But before that, you know, Guilds of Ravnica did just come out. How much have you got to play with the new set? Like limited, just speaking kind of limited. Yeah. And do you love it as much as everyone else does?
So my biggest experience with it was actually with game nights, because I know Josh had mentioned it, but before we actually played that game, we had our decks built out. We got more Ravnica cards and we had to put more into our decks. So I got to look through a bunch of them then. It's really exciting to me. I actually got sidelined out of my pre-release from a migraine. So I opened all my stuff and started building a deck and was like, I need to go home right now. So I haven't even really been able to play it yet, which is unfortunate, but I'm going to try for some limited stuff in Denver to see what I can do with that. But everything I saw, I really like. Everything that I've acquired thus far and have been slotting into the commander decks I already have, I'm super stoked for and have some really great synergies. So I think this is going to be a pretty bitchin' set.
Hell yeah.
If I can say so.
Absolutely, you can.
Yeah.
And that just, it broke my heart when you posted that picture, because you literally opened the Assassin's Trophy and then I'm like, gotta go, guys, migraine time. And I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, I had a pretty good pool too, so it was like, but I didn't want to sit in some LGS like crying in the corner, like, I'm gonna play this and run away.
Yeah, it's horrible. Like going into my pre-release, and I did the midnight thing, even though I'm an old man now, and I'm just like, I probably shouldn't, but I did, and I'm just like, I was so happy to get the last Aamir box because we didn't really get to choose, but I opened the pack, and I was kind of hoping for Lazav, just because I think that would be pretty interesting, especially in like the sealed kind of constructed.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And then I pulled her, and I'm just like, okay, I'm a little worried, but let's just like kind of see how it goes. So I built this really sweet Sultai deck, and oh my god, did she not disappoint?
She's great. I mean, and that's the thing. Like, again, I feel bad because I didn't get to showcase her at all on game nights. But just having that removal on a creature and being able to do all the fun graveyard shenanigans that are so there in Dimir was like, well, if nothing else, I get to scare somebody a lot or take all the big stuff off the board. I mean, that's a good thing. So yeah, she's pretty tight. She's gonna be great in Commander.
Absolutely. So without further ado, Olivia, what is your Magic origin story? Where did it all begin?
So it's funny. My origin story is even back in 1992. One of my neighbors that I hung out with all the time played Magic. So I knew of the game since as long as it's been out, but I never played it until 2014. So I was in the Bay Area and going to school there for all my jewelry, metalsmithing, and all that stuff. And a bunch of my friends from high school were there and were telling me, well, we get together every Thursday and we play Magic. I was like, oh, I don't play Magic, but I want to come and hang out with you guys. So I went and I got handed a, Mono Black Mikaeus commander deck.
Ooh.
And I was told, we're going to play Two-Headed Giant. I have no idea what this is. And then we're going to play Two-Headed Giant Commander. Still no idea.
Girl, words.
Exactly. I was like, this sounds like fun. Sure. I get to hang out with all my friends and we're going to play a game and you guys can teach me and show me how to not look like a complete idiot. That meant that it was a Two-Headed Giant Commander game. So it was 8 of us. There were 4 Two-Headed Giants playing a game. While that would not be a very typical origin story, it was really great because I have one of my friends who's been playing for decades walking me through everything. Here's why we do this. Here's how you deal with your land and why you should play something on the second main instead of the first main, or kind of like explaining the whole thing to me. So I think the first couple games I did were like partnered up basically because all we were playing was Commander. I didn't know there were other formats. I thought that's what it was. I thought that's how you played it. So needless to say, we all know why I'm such a Commander enthusiast. It's all I know. So we kept doing that and being, partnered up for the most part. And then finally, I want to say after like the second or third week, I got my Prash deck and ordered singles from TCG Player. And tweaked that and I had a deck and I started playing, and then it was a downward spiral from there.
Oh God, yeah.
Ever since, I've never seen my bank account that high since. It's just
oh, it's so
ruinous.
Oh, Prosh. Oh my God, you're not a good friend.
No, I'm a terrible person, and I started off that way. I mean, the mono black Micaeus was bonkers. It's just like, oh, this is fun. Okay, I just kill stuff and I get bored. Oh, all right. This is sweet. So yeah, I still have that Prosh deck. Obviously, I still add stuff to it every now and again. But for the most part, it's still like the pre-con with a couple tweaks. I don't run food chain or anything because I like having friends. For the most part, I still have that Brea deck that everybody hates, as they should. But yeah, I've just been playing ever since, and that's how I got into it.
Sure. And it's, you're the second person that I've talked to on one of these. TJ also kind of started with Commander, and that's such a cool, like, I equate that to, like, when you start, even as, like, I started when the rocks were soft back, when I think, oh God, Ice Age was just coming out.
Okay, yeah.
I traded my, like, Pal Peralta skateboard deck for a pile of cards to a buddy, and I haven't looked back since.
Yeah, sure.
Much to my family's dismay, because the bank account thing is real, right? But it's just like, you all start with kind of casual, but it's like the equivalent of starting with a box of Crayola crayons, and then people that start with Commander, it's like starting with the Costco jumbo box of crayons, and it's just so much fun. Like, I think everyone kind of should do it that way, because you get to kind of do the whole spectrum, and limited kind of scares a lot of people off, or eternal formats, or even standard. I think everyone kind of should start by having fun with the game.
I feel like one of the great things about starting in Commander is you can kind of see what your play style is in a really, like, chill kind of environment that's not competitive to start. And then you find out, I really like this, and I like doing combos, and I like doing this, and like making stuff go crazy. You can take that competitive route. You can go see EDH, or you can start doing standard or modern. Or you can be like me and never stop playing Commander and be like, well, I can kind of figure out limited and sealed stuff because it's not too scary and someone else isn't going to come with something I've never seen before. We're all at least on a somewhat level playing field to start. So I think it's great that way. A year after I started playing that, I did my first pre-release. It had to be pointed out to me I could have more than one of the same card in a deck. Because I'd be like, oh, dang, I have like 3 of these. It'd be so sweet. They're like, you can have all 3 of them in there. Wait, really?
They're like, and put them in there.
That's super not legal in the format I play. Okay, yeah, all right, I'll put in 3. All right, sweet.
Sure. Well, I think Sealed's another kind of, it's a more laid back environment than a lot of the other ones. Like Draft, it kind of has this, like, stigma about it, where it's a lot more sharks kind of do that. But like pre-releases and stuff, I think is a good way to start more as a laid back kind of limited format as well.
Right. That was my intro into playing with people that I don't know and have as friends for the last, 20 plus years.
Sure.
But I think it's a good introduction, especially pre-releases, especially when you're coming into a new set of things. You can see how they play. And before, if you haven't yet developed that sense of being able to read a card and say, okay, this is really good because X. If you're still new to it, or, just work with pre-cons and find single pieces that would fit really well in them, going to a pre-release lets you kind of like test drive and see maybe why you think something would be good and you're actually wrong, or the other way around.
Sure, absolutely. Do you like more of the deck building process or just kind of the playing process at this point?
I really like deck building, but I usually have an idea in my head when I start. Like, I don't end up finding really cool things. It's like I have a track I want to go down, and I find everything that lines up with that. I'm still learning the whole, like, I'm still working on getting the encyclopedic knowledge where I can be like, oh, but these 2 cards that are from 17 sets ago would be really amazing. And right. Like, I have the internet for that. And occasionally, like, my friends and my husband tell me, hey, remember this card that you hate when I play? You should actually try it in this. Oh, yeah, I tried to block it out of my memory, but you're right. It would actually go on this deck.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, where did all that kind of, well, before that, what kind of are you building now? Or are you just kind of focusing on kind of fine tuning decks?
I'm still fine tuning Brea, because that can never be too tuned. Well, that's not true. It can, it is. But I mean, Saheeli just came out, and that was basically a Brea expansion deck. So I'm just trying to make things fit in there without completely eliminating what I had before. The cool thing about that one is that even though it plays really competitively, it doesn't have to be. So if I'm sitting at like a table with anybody, it could still get beat. It has been beaten before plenty of times by decks that were underpowered. But I actually just moved all of my cards, at this big full of them, all my legendaries into a binder, so I can actually go through and be like, okay, what new commander do I want to play around with? So I need to branch out a little from Grixis, I think.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Grixis.
No, there's not. I have the Pillow Fort Enchantress, green-white, and then what's my other one? I have an Abzan deck, Rayhan and Ravos.
Oh, nice.
Only two. Yeah, it's so much fun. Those are the only two I've really branched out with, but I need to actually like try something different completely.
What ancillary thing about the game? I guess it's not ancillary because it's kind of part of it. Really excites you? Is it more of the lore style? Is it like when mechanics are being spoiled? What about Magic is just like, wow, that is what I love about this game?
The art.
Nice.
It's the art. I love new mechanics. I don't care what anybody says. I was super hyped for Amonkhet and all of the stuff that came with it. I can't wait to see some of those again. They were really, really good.
Sure. Which one in particular did you really like?
I'm a big fan of Embalm. I love Exert. I like pretty much everything that came out of that set. I'm not really too chuffed with it or too upset with any of them. I
feel like Aamir gets a bad rap. Mummies. But it is actually a pretty fun set.
Awesome. I'm also a huge amateur ancient Egypt buff, and so when I saw that come out, I got real excited. I was like, there's lots of gold and everything's shiny, and this is my favorite mythos. All the things I like. The thing is, like, really the art was kind of what nabbed me, like way back in 1992, and I'd sit there with my friend and he knew what he was doing, and I was just like, this card's got really pretty stuff on it. So that has always been the grab. I love the aesthetics of it. I love the work that the artist produced for this. It's just incredible, and it's really cool seeing what people come up with those prompts and making an immersive experience in that realm, at least for me. I like everything else too, but those two things are kind of what grabbed me, is like seeing new ways that cards can interact and what people can do with them to kind of make it a world building experience and not necessarily take you away, but give you something to appreciate while you're playing it, I guess.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, think about the evolution of the art too. I mean, going back to like Gazban Ogre, back in like Arabian Nights, and now
I'm not trashing anyone, but the difference between like what is it Stasis and like Magali Villeneuve's Vraska today.
Right. Yeah.
Big difference. We've covered a lot of ground. And again, I'm not trashing anybody. If it weren't for the stuff that came in the beginning, we wouldn't have what we do now. So
sure. I mean, it definitely had some charm and whimsy to it back then.
And it still does. It's so funny being like, look at this. I can't believe this. This card is also worth a lot of money. So yeah.
Can you imagine like a sick foil version of Stasis, but in the same art? Like,
what's the other one? Is it the Prismatic Charm or whatever? That's just like a star with like perspective lines coming back from it. It's like, I would kill to see a foil of this go for 10 grand and just like fuck with it.
Exactly. That's what I want to see. Or like the Unholy Strength, especially when they had to take the pentagram out, and it's just like,
exactly. It's just like, I'm prostrate for no good reason.
Yeah. Pent up emotion. Yeah.
He was in his glass case of emotion, and we don't know why.
That's right. They should have renamed the card Angst.
No inverted pentagram behind him to tell us what was going on.
Yeah. # zero context.
Witchcraft.
Exactly. Man, that was like around the time when everyone was like freaking out about the occult and stuff.
And they were doing the big Dungeons and Dragons. Well, I mean, Dungeons and Dragons since it came out, but really it was just like, your kids are playing with Satanism. Well, it's not, it's not the worst thing they could do.
Right? I know, right? I agree.
There's so many other things that could be way more terrible.
Hey, I have an Alkaline Trio tattoo. I get it.
I'm wearing a Blackcraft shirt under this, so I get it.
It's awesome. I just lost my 5 viewers. No.
Bye.
Yeah, right.
Should have known better getting me on here.
It's better on in the dark side, anyways, right?
Definitely.
So what was the evolution from playing, EDH and everything, and then kind of going, hey, I like the art so much. I want to make costumes and look like these people. Like, what or who inspired you to kind of make the jump into cosplay?
Two things. I love building stuff and Christine Sprinkle.
Nice.
That's
nice.
Simple. Yep.
I'm glad she's coming back slowly but surely.
Listen, we owe her shit and she can do whatever she wants. So whatever she chooses is fine. She doesn't have to take Magic's calls anymore. She doesn't want to. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Seeing, what was it? Like, I mean, I'd never really been like interested in cosplay. Like, I like building stuff. I like having fun, and this just kind of seemed like a good outlet for it. But then I think it was for like Emerald City. I was like, what the hell? I play Magic all the time. I might as well. It'd be fun. And it's one more way to spend money I don't have because of the cards. And I was just looking around for it and found her stuff and was like, what the hell? Someone else is doing it, so it's not that scary. It's not going to be the first person. And I just dove in, and that was, pretty much how it started.
If you had the book of Jon's favorite characters, like unknowingly, you have been Jon's favorite characters. Like Teysa is one of my favorites. Drana, again, and Brea is awesome as well. And you just kill it, man. Like they're all incredible. And
see, I look at all of them and I'm like, how does anybody put up with me putting out this garbage and think it's okay?
Oh, stop. No, it's awesome.
No, it's how it is. I mean, you know how it is. If you like make something, all you ever see is the flaws and you always want to make it better.
Sure.
Brea I wanted to do because it was one of those things where outside of the blonde hair, I was like, that's me. I built stuff out of metal. And I mean, I don't phase in and out of, existence for the most part, but I artifice.
That's you don't sweet. Not.
Right. And at the time it was like, I play with lasers. So it's kind of like shooting bolts of lightning out of my hand, and I shoot the lasers onto the metal. So it all just coalesced, and I was like, I have to do Brea. And I think one of the reasons I ended up wanting to do Drana was because it looked relatively fast. I was wrong. It was not, but it looked like it was something I could whip together before Vegas. And I really wanted to make those horns. Honestly, that was one of the biggest things. It was like, I just want these big giant. I figured if I could do that. Well, I was like, it's just black pants and a red cloak, and not too much other. No, I was wrong. There was a lot of other stuff I had to do for that. So. I'm really bad at looking at a piece of art and judging how long it's going to take me because like my idiot self has now started. I've like finished a phase 1 Sakashima. I still have to put all the like hanging stuff off of it because there's a lot. And I didn't finish it all in time for Mexico City. It's perfectly serviceable, and you could tell what I was doing, but there's so many details on that piece of artwork. Anyway, so I did that, and I doubled down on it. Like I started painting. I was like, well, I'm in now, so I got to finish it. And then I have an Atraxa started too. Like all the patterning's cut out, and I'm ordering like 8-inch giant lucite heels to give the appearance of floating.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
So the cool thing too is that the helmet, where it comes to right now, it stops right here at my nose. So I can't actually see any further than about 3 inches in front of my feet. So I'm going to have to basically have 2 people dressed up as planeswalkers on either side of me. And I'm just going to like mark them with grease paint with a little Phyrexian symbol and like have them proliferate me all over the place. Cause that's the only way I'm going to be able to walk. So yeah, I look at stuff, think it'll be easy, discover it's not, double down, and hope it turns out okay. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I think your most famous, I think it's fair to say, is probably your portrayal of Liliana, which was just totally on point. But my personal favorite, I mean, my Twitter handle's Orzov Dunn. I mean, I love Teysa, and you just killed Teysa.
Thank you. I'm excited. So she's on the new Ravnica art cover. So I want the whole thing so I can make that. But I'm actually was looking last night at trying to get both versions of her done since I have the black attire. I was going to make the white outfit as well. And I love her. She's great. She's
great.
She's just rad.
And whatever, I mean, be prepared because I'm sure she's going to make a return in the next set. I at least, if not, I quit. I mean, seriously.
That's big doings. I don't know if I quit over anybody. I just wish that like some of the commanders would get more backstory or would get any lore at all. Like I want to know, tell me more about Saskia. I'm in love with her.
Sure. She's
super swole and just yells at shit and people go run and attack it. I'm really here for that. Like that speaks to me on a deep level. So yeah, I definitely wish that was a thing that would get a little bit more background on. I mean, the whole C16 set, I want more. I want to know what's going on with those cards.
Right. I think it's all in due time. Like, I think Atraxa, we're really going. I mean,
come on.
Yeah.
Atraxa, I need a backstory.
It's going to happen. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on real quick because I think that after Ravnica, after Nicobolas kind of fucked shit up, we're going to go back to New Phyrexia and we're going to get Atraxa. Like, I mean, maybe she'll ascend. How cool would that be?
Right. Oh, God.
Yeah.
There's so much happening. Yeah. There's just.
So what's your favorite moment from these GPs and these events that you've been doing? I mean, you have been a busy bee. I know you've.
I know. I'm so dumb. I'm like, I'm not going to do too much this year. So I think I'm going to have 11 or 12 GPs before this is all over.
Good Lord.
I was just looking at like the reward points from travel on my credit card and was like, I could probably fit in one more. It's like, stop it. What are you doing? I just like show up. I'm like, hey, why not? So I think I may be adding like 2 more on to my schedule. I think I might be doing New Jersey, maybe, and maybe Japan, depending on how many points I have on.
Who says that? Maybe Japan. I don't know. If I have time.
I have a lot of incentive to go there because of food and cute things. So, I mean, like, there's many reasons to go, but I'm just making the GP the excuse. Like, but I can play dress up there too. So.
Yeah, it's kind of the land where cosplay was birthed, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, which is part of the reason why I almost don't want to, because it's just like, just don't even bother. Like,
stop.
No, don't want to compete. But yeah, it's fun. My favorite moment from the GPs, I don't have like a favorite moment from a favorite GP.
Yeah, a couple is fine. We got time.
I don't even know if it's like moments so much as the experience of that keeps repeating itself. Having people come up to you and just be like, oh my God, I love X is still really surreal, especially when they find me out of costume. Then that just trips me up every time. Like, how do you know that's who I am? But having people come up and chat with you about, just because you dressed up as a character they like, or they interact with you on Twitter because, God bless them, somebody has to talk to you because you're insane and put foam all over your body. I don't know. The people that, have something to share and get someone to share it with and can have that little like moment of, hey, something really cool is happening and we get to interact on that level, is probably my favorite thing that keeps happening over and over, is meeting these people that have this passion for the game and have such a fun time being a part of the community, even if they're not necessarily prominent. Just having that engagement is probably my favorite thing.
It's awesome.
I want to clarify, like the Yahoos that all the people are talking to are us, the cosplayers. Like nobody that comes up to me is like the loser. I'm the one dressed up in a, like event. So please do not think that I am looking down on anyone. I'm very clear on where we are in the hierarchy.
So what is your process? You said a little bit about like your selection reason for Drana. You wanted to make those cool horns, but like, what is usually your process for character selection and making sure that you could bring them to life?
The running joke is that my characters have to be women with a last name ending in A because every single one I have is one of those. No, I'm not necessarily. Oh yeah, Sakashima has an A too. Yeah, I can't escape it.
That's nuts. I didn't even realize.
Every single one of them. Every single one. I think what it is, partially, I do want it to at least be recognizable. I want people to see something that they know what it is, which Sakashima was an odd choice for that, but still, because it's mostly commander players that use that to an extent. But it's finding art that I like. It's seeing if I think I can pull it off, which is a whole process. I don't sew. I don't do any of my fabric work because I don't have the bandwidth to add one more thing that I do onto it, for sure. And they're like infinitely more talented cosplayers that finish a project from start to finish, and I'm not amongst them. So I see what it is that I think I can pull off reasonably and go for it from there. It's basically like, is this recognizable? Is this going to be something that someone can engage with? And can I do it? and do I like the art? And that's pretty much it for me. I could probably be a bit more discerning because right now I'm just like, oh, that one looks sweet, and I just start it without really thinking about it.
As all mad scientists tend to do.
I mean, exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh, it'll come together at the end. And yeah, it's just like, okay, do I think this art's cool? Are there going to be enough people that are going to get something out of it? And can I pull it off? And then again, I'm like, Atraxa. Yeah, that sounds great. I should do that.
Right.
Awesome idea. Killer.
That's awesome. But I mean, we're all better for it because everything that you've produced has just been spot on and amazing. So thank
you. I really appreciate that. That's
really, of course. So that's a great segue. Talking about mad scientists, you and I have a mutual friend in Sydney, better known as Tappy Toe Claws. Tell me about the dynamic duo and how this happened.
Honest to God, we seem like we've been friends forever. We met each other at Vegas last year in 2017. Awesome. And so we met at Vegas. I met most of the rest of the not stalwart, that's the wrong word, the like honor guard of MTG cosplay there. So I met Ashlyn and Spranks when she was still blessing us with her presence, and the Almond Cats crew. So like Matt, Jen, Sydney, Aaron, Angel, the list goes on. And I met them there and hung out with all of them in passing and like got pictures and all that fun stuff and exchanged information with a couple of them. And kind of like, I didn't really do any more GPs until way later that year, if at all. It may not have really been until this year. And I think it was Moxie that invited me into their group chat. And once that happened, I want to say it was like November, December or something. I was just talking with her about like trying to get more involved in helping out with stuff. And I got looped into that, and it's been history since then. As soon as that happened, it was just like, oh, hey guys, and just excited typing in all caps all the time. And yeah, chatting with them and figuring out, okay, well, what is it we want to do for next year? And it's like, all of a sudden I feel like, hey, I'm included and maybe I should contribute. So that's how we discovered each other that way. And what was it? Oh, we were taking a big group picture on Sunday, I think. Yeah, it had to have been Sunday. And Sydney was dressed up as Jace and I was as Lily, and I just stood right next to her and just like put my arm on her. I was like, hey, we're best friends now. And we were. And we just stayed in touch ever since then and just like operate at a high frequency and yell at each other and dinosaur or high-pitched squeals often, either via text or over the phone. That's what we do. And yeah, so Magic has given me some of the greatest interpersonal relationships I could ever ask for. I have made some like near and dear lifelong friends that like might as well have been separated at birth because of this game. So I'm pretty grateful for that. But yeah, that's how it all came to pass, is just showing up in Vegas as Lily number 4.
Isn't that crazy though? How
at least 6 that time. I mean,
it's so crazy how this card game can do that. And I have the same kind of story. It's like I have lifelong friends because I play a game. It's like, yeah, I play Skyrim too, but no one gives a shit about that. It's just
exactly.
It's like, what? We're just playing a children's card game, but
it's 13 plus. It's young adult.
It's fine. We're playing a pre-tween bar.
Right. The 13. There's a T in there. It's a hard teen. That's fine.
But yeah, but isn't that so? Another thing you said is so funny. It's just like you put your arm on her shoulder and be like, "We're best friends now." That's kind of how my relationships started when I was in grade school too. It's just like,
yeah,
it's a real thing.
Other reasons, like that human is my human now. Okay, and there it is.
So let's talk about your other love, and that's, I mean, you do like the black magic, but you are a real life red mage because you are quite the tinkerer, my friend. Talk about all the metal craft.
Yeah, I guess I am red mage. Huh? That's why I went Brea's, because I'm too Orzhov for my own good. So I had to add my black in there. Yeah, I artifice for a living. I guess you can say that. Yeah, so that, like I said, in line with when I started playing Magic in 2014, I was going to jewelry school and metalsmithing school in San Francisco when that was happening. And then for a day job, I was a diamond setter at Blue Nile for a long time and did a bunch of work in the jewelry shop there. And now I am commission-based, And I'll just apologize in advance if anybody who's requested something from me is now listening to this podcast. Like, I haven't heard from you yet. I have a very long commission list. Where I'm getting to everybody. So yeah, I know I mentioned this on the Command Zone podcast too. I never really thought of bridging it over to magic related stuff until I was listening to them do their live thing in Vegas when I was helping out with that. And we were just talking about people tricking out their commander decks, and he mentioned that Marchesa was his favorite. And I was like, wait a minute. I just finished this big engraving course from this master engraver, and I've been doing this and wanting to do it for a while. It's like, why don't I just put a magic card on silver? That could be cool. And then I did it, and I don't have enough time in the day since.
And it's the most bitching thing ever.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm going to put up this image right now, and that's your real life MOX Amber. Like, yeah. Look at that thing, everybody, because that is real. And you made that.
I did. That one was that was part of a cosplay exchange. The woman, Erin Adams, who's amazing, she sewed my Teysa costume for me because, again, I can't sew. So she did the cutout coat for me, and I made her the MOX Amber, and that was we both feel like we got the best end of the deal. I'm like, I don't understand what she's so excited about. I got something sewed for me. She just got this piece of amber, and she's like, I got this amazing necklace, and I just sewed something for her. So it was actually
bartering in 2018, right?
It was a great exchange because both of us really feel like we got the sweet end of the deal on that. So I've had a lot of requests for that too, and the hardest thing has been finding more amber for it that's in the right shape. So I'm actually working with a stonecutter right now to try and see if I can get some more similarly cut pieces and maybe make a couple more at the same time. I also kind of like that there's only one because it's legendary. And I guess Erin will just have the first and the best one, and everything else will just be a little bit smaller, and that'll be that. So
God, that's awesome.
Yeah. It was really fun making that one.
Oh, I'm sure. So, and how about how tedious or do you just have so much enjoyment making those cards? Because those cards, oh my God, are just the cat's pajamas.
Thank you. Cat's pajamas. I haven't heard that one. They are tedious because sometimes the metal doesn't cooperate with you. Up until the last couple ones, I'd been working with steel, and it was one of those like, hey, this metal's cheaper, so it won't be as expensive, except I have to sink more time into it, and my tools are breaking constantly, and I have to refix them. So I'm not going to do steel anymore. Just everything's going to be in silver because it's easier to cut. It's easier on my tools. But because of that, I was having a little bit of trouble time-wise because I constantly have to stop in the middle. So that got tedious. But having done the last one, I think the Jester's Cap was the most recent one that I did. And that was all in silver. That came together like a dream and took way less time than the steel ones were taking. So I'm excited because I get to do more of those. I have one in brass for Josh Lee Kwai that's almost finished. I just have to put the rest of the stones in. He hasn't seen it yet, so nobody's seen it yet. But I'll promise to make a grand debut on that one. But yeah, those things take anywhere from 8 to 16 hours, depending on the amount of detail that goes into it. Jeez. So yeah. Yeah,
they're just stunning. So let's
just
talk.
So I'm only working a little tiny bit at a time, and I feel like, oh man, I just got so much shading done. I pull away, and on the entire card this big, it's like I finished this much of a section. Got a bit to go. All right, let's do this.
Put on a good playlist and put your nose down and go to work.
Yeah, it's time for some podcasts. Honestly, I put like old Sega Genesis music, like OSTs, on, and just like
that's awesome.
It was 2 hours to listening to Sonic the Hedgehog 2 again. Just like, no, it's cool. Got this. I remember all this.
You're like, Mutant League, let's go.
Yeah. Me and the Chrono Trigger soundtrack, man. Best friend.
Yes. Oh, we just became best friends. Yeah.
Well, it's the best soundtrack kind of ever, and I'll fight anybody. I don't care. I don't want to hear about Final Fantasy. It's Chrono Trigger. It's better. I promise. Thank you.
Hey, were you a fan of Shining Force? Talking about Sega Genesis now. Screw Magic. Yes. Let's talk about Sega Genesis. I was play Shining Force.
I did. I never got into it as much as I should have, probably, because I didn't play super intensely when I was a kid. So my super heavy nostalgia is all like the Sonic games, and I think I still have it somewhere, like Bubble and Squeak. Nobody played that. That's mine. I did.
I played Bobble Bobble,
which is one of the greatest games of all time. Thank you.
It really is.
Yeah. So I go back on that sort of stuff, but then I got SNES way later on in life and discovered Chrono Trigger and Earthbound and all the good stuff that was on there. It's just, I've got an emulator device, so I can play them all. So yeah, I go back a lot.
Man. Well, so before I start another 6 podcast,
ready.
The Olivia and Jon, like old school retro video games.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Let's talk about content creation. I mean, you went from doing the cosplays to now you're on Command Zone. You were part of the spoiler edition of our mutual friend right here. Yeah. And then you were also on game nights. Like, talk about that. Like, how what was that experience like?
It all just started from being nice to Josh. Just trying to be friends.
Almost did a spit take.
That's where it is. It was just like hanging out with them for the command zone stuff they did at Vegas, for GP Vegas, and like trying to not be super fangirl or any like weird or anything. Just be like, hey, if you guys need help, like I'm not doing anything, so hey, happy to. And just we've stayed in touch on Twitter and got like all excited about Iceland and everything. And then after that, I remember he sent me a text like out of nowhere and it said, hey, do you want to be on the command zone? I was like, he sent this to somebody named Olivia by mistake.
You thought you were butt dialed?
No, I mean, it was this whole thing and he was in Greece at the time, right? So I'm just like, he hit the wrong name on his text. It's no big deal. And I read it again. I was like, no, that says Olivia. So I write back to him like, yes, as long as you really meant this for me. But he did. And hopped on that. So we actually did the game night stuff. We filmed it first. And then he emailed me again out of the blue afterwards and said, hey, the Command Zone's spoiler card is a Trata. Do you want to come on? I was like, yeah, sure. And I'm figuring it's going to be me, him, and DJ. And they're just going to have me chat about what I did with the Trata really quick. No, he sent me the show notes. I was like, oh, it's me. Am I ready for this? Probably not, but let's go. So, yep, that's kind of what happened. I just got weird and loud and exuberant on the giant computer we have over there. I was like, well, I hope this works.
Well, I mean, it looks like you've been online for doing these kind of videos forever. Like you're very much a natural at it, is what I'm saying. Is stuff like that and stuff like guesting on podcasts what you're kind of like, what's your future with content creation, or are you more kind of geared towards like going to the live events?
I think I'm probably more geared towards live stuff. Honestly, I feel like I wouldn't do content creation justice in the sense that anything I'd want to do for that would be focused on stuff I'm trying to do pretty seriously already. Like I've been considering, and I have to get a camera set up for it. Just doing a Twitch stream if people want to watch me like make shit or do those cards or do the engraving and stuff like that. I'd have to get a camera for my scope though, because otherwise you'd just watch me spinning a piece of metal like this and it would be very fun. But if you could actually see what I was working on, that'd be cool. I would do something like that. But as far as like actually creating something, I don't necessarily know if I have anything that's not already a niche that somebody's filling. And or adding that in on top of what I'm trying to do already, I feel like I wouldn't be able to do justice to one of the things. Either people's commissions, which is kind of not an option because if they're paying for me and they want that work, I want to give them 100% for that. So that would either cut into cosplay time or like existing as a human being outside of Magic. I do like being a human being outside of Magic, so it'd probably cut into the cosplay stuff, and then I'd just be torn between that and doing editing or trying to make it content that's worth watching. So I don't really want to not give something its full due. So I don't know about that sort of thing. But
sure.
Who knows what the future, maybe I'll get really good at time management all of a sudden. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you said like maybe do some kind of tutorial, or not so much tutorial, just like filming. I mean,
people want to try and learn from me. Godspeed. I'd probably just bear through shit and just be like, did you have a question? I'm really sorry. That was 20 minutes ago and I missed it.
But like the process of doing like the Dremel work and stuff, but also maybe doing cosplay costumes. That, I mean, you never know. Everyone's turning on a camera for normal day life and is getting millions of views. So you never know.
Blows my mind. Plus, I'd be so afraid I'd well, I don't know what I'm afraid of. I live pretty openly, but I do something stupid. It's like, well, it's on the internet forever. I guess part of me, since I worked on political campaigns for so long, and like in that past life of mine, I have this innate fear of cameras and of the press. So of course I married an investigative journalist because naturally, of course. Yeah. That just makes perfect sense. So because of all those things, I have this weird like aversion to it. Like I'm supposed to keep the focus on something else that I'm working on, not on me. But who knows? I might get over it. I don't know. If anything, I definitely want to, if not by the end of this year, by the beginning of next year, have something where if people just want to tune in and watch me cut metal, they're more than welcome to. They'll just hear, you know, gentle hammering of like nice silver sounding peels and cutting noises from a air compressor. And maybe somebody would find it relaxing. I don't know. It could be a cool thing in the background to just be like, hey, look, there's something real out of that instead of a flat sheet of metal like it was. So nice. I'd do something like that, but I don't know that I could really give people what they deserve in one facet or another if I tried to like decide to video edit or do anything of consequence. Like I barely have enough skills to function as it is sometimes. I don't want to be like, I'm really good at video editing. I forgot how to cook.
Awesome.
I only have so much bandwidth.
Oh, jeez. As a true red mage does, right? Oh my
Firing
God.
on impulse. Let's
Firing
just do
on
it.
impulse. So let's it has become the time of the show to everyone's favorite segment. We're going to face the D20, Olivia. Are you ready for this? This is the part of the segment where Olivia is going to roll a spin down. Yes, it's a spin down. It's not a die. It's a D20 spin down, and every number on there correlates to a non-Magic the Gathering related question to get to know a little bit more about the woman behind the cosplay. So are you ready to do this?
Yes, I'm as ready as I will ever be.
All right. So without further ado.
Number is 5.
Number 5. Why?
I can roll again. I don't care.
No.
I don't know what the question is. It's fine. I'll do it again.
This one always comes up, and it looks. I only say like, oh, geez.
Is there a number you want me to roll?
No. It just looks like I always like fix this to do this, like because it's.
I promise he didn't. This is my trashy Ixalan die that I rolled really badly.
There we go. It's the most neurotic question on the thing for me, not for you. Ask the interviewer anything.
I don't know what to ask you. What am I doing here? This is your show.
See, there you go. That's fine. We can move on.
Who's your favorite commander and why?
Ooh.
I'm going to stay on my brand with EDH being the only thing I know.
Sure. I love Carador. Ghost Dad was my first Carador, adding just a little bit of green, especially moving to Washington. Now I'm letting the green seep into the black-white. Exactly. I mean, I'm taking constant like pictures of the wilderness in the back of like squirrels and shit. It's just crazy.
Look at another amazing sunset in Washington. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's how it was when I lived there too. It was just like, check this out. It's like this every night.
I am so PSL. Like I am the pumpkin spice latte of the Magic the Gathering community.
It's fine. Same here.
Hey, gotta go with what you're doing.
My nice puffy boots and leggings and my Lily tiara. I'm here for it.
Yes. All right. Roll again, my friend.
Okay.
Don't say 5.
I didn't. I will say 12.
You will say 12. 12 is if you could have a dance off against anyone, who would it be?
Sydney.
That's your channel.
For no reason other than to see her moves because mine are trash.
That's the content creation right there.
Okay, yeah.
We just made a channel.
Crap, I did.
All right, friend. Let's go again.
Okay. 20. I mean, Ixalan sign, whatever that is.
What country would you live in besides the U.S.?
I have 2, France and Iceland.
Nice. Why? My niece went to Iceland because they did.
I've been there 5 out of the last 6 years.
Oh my God.
I went once, like, God, when was it? 2013, I think. 2013. Maybe so 5 out of. Oh, I've been like 5 times in the last 5 years, but it was twice in 1 year. It's something like that. I went in 2013. on a complete whim, like throw a dart at the map sort of thing. Never been, no idea, just booked 2.5 weeks and just flew over there. And there I was. And I had the best stinking time of my life. I didn't know what anything was. I knew nothing about the place, just rolled over. Of course, thought I was at least like immerse myself in a foreign language. No, everybody speaks English. Of course. But just being outside, and it was cold and it was wintry, and I got to be bundled up all the time and seeing really beautiful like outdoor stuff and going on these crazy amazing tours like of places I'd not fathomed seeing. I mean, I lived in California for the overwhelming majority of my life, like
Sure.
Yosemite and everything we have there is just stunning, but it's a completely alien landscape over there. So I went and I even made like friends. It's pretty cool. So went back the next year and did the same thing all over again. So now I have like friends that live in Iceland that are Icelandic and freaking sweet. So I try to go back as often as I can. I don't know why I always go during the winter and try and see the northern lights and sit in hot springs in the middle of downtown Reykjavik and drink beer and have the best stinking time. And then France, I've lived in twice before for study abroad in school. Took the language for a long, long time. And I just love it there. I took a couple weekend trips to Paris by myself while I was studying in Europe for stone setting and some of my metal things. And it was just the best. I miss it. And I don't know why. It just matched up with what I was, needing at that time in my life. And so I love those two places an inordinate amount.
Well, the wine is fantastic in France.
Oh, cannot miss.
Oh my God. And I heard the food and beverage is quite underrated in Iceland as well.
There's the traditional spectrum of food, which is a sight to be seen. And then, yes, they have some really amazing stuff that you'd never expect. There are a couple places in Reykjavik that are just amazing, next level sort of food. You have to budget for it because everything there is so expensive. But there's some amazing stuff to be had there. And then you can also, have the fermented shark if you're feeling really spicy.
And have you?
Yes, I have.
And?
If it's a traditional Icelandic food, I've eaten it. I did not have boiled sheep's face, or I didn't have the eye out of boiled sheep's face, but I did have boiled sheep's face. The shark is interesting. So it's fermented shark. So they take these sharks that never pee, and so their bodies are just laced with ammonia. They bury them in the coastline, and then dig them out once they've fermented enough that the ammonia is broken down that you can eat it and not poison yourself. Oh. This is weird Viking food, right? So
thank Lucifer for that.
So I think it was Bourdain. I watched him eat it, and I was like, well, if he didn't projectile vomit, I certainly won't. So what the hell? So I went to this flea market, basically, and there's one place, there's a stall that has it. They have the hakal, and they have like bita fisker, the dried fish stuff. So I bought some and went back to the hostel and sat down with a couple other people, and we're like, all right, we're going to do this. So we had the Brennivin, which is their weird like birch aniseed schnapps stuff they call the Black Death.
Oh, God.
Horrific. I cannot say. Some people love it and think it's really refreshing. I, on the other hand, would I have a bottle over at my little bar area, but I haven't opened it. I just have it as a souvenir, not to ever touch. So basically the traditional thing is you have a piece of the shark, and then the only thing that makes the taste of the shark go away is the Brennivin. So get our little, and they give you just little tiny cubes, like it's not a lot. Stick it with the toothpick and eat it. Chew it. I mean, the whole 9 yards, and I swallowed it. And I was like, okay, I don't get what was so terrible about it. And as soon as you swallow it, it makes it past your throat and gets to like right here, right at your collarbone. And all of a sudden, everything is ammonia. Your body, your breath, the air around you, everything that you've ever thought, experienced, seen, felt, heard, it's consumed. It's coming out of your skin. You can't escape it. There's no way out. It just tastes like somebody's uncleaned litter box, or I can't even place it. It's the most horrific thing I've ever felt inside of my body at any point in time. So you can't get that Brennivin down fast enough. You really can't, because there's just this moment of like, oh God, what have I done? So you drink the Brennivin after that, and the Brennivin is a second moment of, oh God, what have I done? Which is at least buttressed by alcohol, so it kind of like washes it away fast enough. But those two things together apparently neutralize each other just enough that you just feel revolted.
You're just back to gross.
Like,
yeah.
You're just gross, but everything's okay and you're not going to die.
Well,
I recommend that everybody tries it at least once because it's nothing like anything I've ever experienced. I would do it again if I had somebody else sitting across from me that would never done it. I wouldn't like it. There would be zero enjoyment, but it's something I could tolerate again without wanting to end it all.
If I ever get lost and wind up in Iceland, you happen to be there, I will be your wingman for that. I'm down to try some bad stuff because, I feel like I've been training for this my whole life because I had a good Jewish mother, right? She would always clean the floor with just straight ammonia, and it would just, I feel like I have nodules in my lungs because.
Okay, so the Hakara won't hit you so bad.
That's what I'm saying. Wait, yeah, I'm ready.
It's just going to be the smell. You're going to be like, oh, so you're going to be eating like, only to make it even more revolting, you're basically going to be eating like meat jello and just get that smell all over again. The thing is, it's this weird chewy texture that's like, it was meat. What it is now is something else entirely. It's transmuted. You know what it is? The texture of Hakral, the fermented shark, is what I imagine a bite of the amoeboid changeling would be.
Oh my God.
Just this weird gelatinous protein. This could be anything sort of feeling. That's what that is.
See, now I'm out. I'm tapping out.
No, you have to do it.
No. Because gefilte fish is where I drew the line. And I don't even like regular good Jell-O. So I'm a texture person. So I can.
So am I. And I did it anyway. Because here's the thing. You can just knock it back. You don't have to chew it. It's not going to choke you if you do it. So you don't have to like do the texture experience if you don't want. But
it'll just choke you when it's down here and the ammonia is permeating and ripping your face off.
You just like breathe. It feels like you're breathing fire. It's just like, I know I'm gesturing a lot for this, but there's really no other way to explain it.
It's not words, it's movement.
It's everything around you, and it's all changing really fast. That being said, the rest of their food, they have some amazing stuff. There's I went to, where is it? Oh God, I can't remember the street because I couldn't pronounce it anyway. There's a place called Tapas Baron. Everything there's so hard. I just don't understand. There's a place called Tapas Baron, and they have a 7-course like Icelandic tapas meal where it's all little small plates and stuff, but it's traditional food, but more modern preparation. They do not have a Hakral course, so you can avoid that. But they'll have stuff like whale.
Oh.
It's mink whale, and it's really, really good. I didn't want to like it, and it was my favorite thing out of the whole thing.
There goes my other one follower.
I know, sorry, bye.
We're eating whale here.
Love you. So it was like whale puffin. Also really good.
Oh, they're so cute.
They're very cute, and they're extremely delicious.
That's like eating a porg.
It was
the Star Wars reference.
Yeah. No, I know. And then it was like reindeer or horse or something, and it was a bunch of other like crazy traditional Icelandic like meats and options. It was amazing. So they have some, there's really good stuff. I mean, a lot of old traditional foods are terrifying, but you try them anyway.
I heard the blood sausage game there is strong.
I did not have any. It wasn't on my menu that night, but I would try it.
Oof. All right. Well, this digressed into something more entertaining again than magic.
It's a food and beverage hour. Hey.
Went from but I geek out on that kind of stuff before I'm doing what I'm doing.
We are making another channel, aren't we? You handle everything. I'll just show up and talk trash.
All right, cool. Yeah, we'll just eat horrible things and drink great things, and boom, 1 million views.
I'll send you Brennivin. We'll see what happens.
Oh, dude.
Breathe fire.
But I need the nasty rotten shark first, the ammonia shark.
I don't know. You should just try the Brennivins. I personally hate it because I do not like aniseed, which is why I don't trust most people's sausage. But that was a really terrible out of time.
I wasn't gonna pick the low.
It was right there. I mean, come on, it was right there.
Right.
But some people actually like the Brennivin. Some of them I call friends.
Sure.
Yeah.
Friends that can't be trusted. All right. So there's no way that we can follow up another roll on on the tangent we just went off. So we're gonna keep it there. That was a walk-off grand slam. So anything that we can like to spoil for the group? Anything in store, like special in store for GP Denver?
Yeah, everything I have is something we discussed. Atrax is the one big scary thing staring me in the face. My husband already got mad at me for making an Atrata when I told him, I promise no more cosplays this year. And then I was like, that actually looks really comfortable. I should do that. So I promised, that was it. So I have the Atrax on deck, and that's all I'm allowed to work on until next year, which means I'll have something new in December. I don't know.
Oh, man.
What it is, I'm not sure. I'll have another Tesa. I'll figure something out. I'll have another Tesa. We'll be fine.
Olivia Gober-Hicks, ladies and gentlemen. Where can everyone find you? Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. I'm honored to be on. I don't know how I am worthy, but here we go. I'm on Twitter's the place to find me. I can't stand Facebook anymore. It's trash, so I try not to go on there ever. So Twitter, my last name at GOBERTHICKS. No, it's not at Gobert-Hicks. I'm sorry, I can't put a hyphen in my stuff. And the metalworking one that I'm not as good at looking at as I should be is at Metal Cardboard. And yeah, that's the best place to find me. I think I'm on Insta with the same as my just my last name. So
perfect. Awesome. And you could find me on this very channel. We said you could also find me on Twitter and Reddit and all those things, Discord, whatever, at Orzov Dunn. And thanks again for Cardsphere for bringing you, making this show possible. And I hope to hell, like I said before, that you, ladies and gentlemen, like the new format. If you don't, let me know and we'll make another change. That's just how these kind of things go. So
or yell at me on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything. Just yell at me. It was all my fault.
No, just not for you. The aesthetics of the thing. You're great.
It's great. No, it's fine.
No, you're awesome. But yeah, until next time, Planeswalkers, I'll see you all in the multiverse.